All right. There we go. All righty, everybody. Welcome. Hi, I'm Professor Vince Tsushima, Professor of Psychology here at HBU. I'd like to welcome you to our first fall psychology symposium. Yeah. And where we're going to have the department here, not everyone in the department, one person's out sick, the other person's out at a committee meeting, but we have the rest of the faculty here. And we like to talk with you about what you need to do to succeed as a psychology major. All righty. And with that, before we begin, I think I'd like to start off by having the faculty introduce themselves briefly. Yeah, announce their names, maybe what their specialty area is, and anything that they'd like to share with the group. So with that, I'll start off with our department chair, Dr. Andy DeWald.
Oh, that's me. Hi, I'm Andrew Daywald. Andy Daywald. I am the chair of the psychology department for the undergraduates. I'm a cognitive psychologist, which means I have to teach. But that's great. It's wonderful. So you'll, as a psych major, you'll run into me once you get to those upper division electives. You'll have to take cognitive psychology with me, and you'll have me for biopsych, maybe statistics. That'll be fun. But you'll definitely encounter me from time to time.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, Dr. DeWald. Dr. Pashtag.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joanna Pashtag. I'm a clinical psychologist and a forensic psychologist. I teach mainly clinical courses, undergrad and graduate, but I also teach some research seminars, occasionally research methods, various electives, including forensic psychology. So you will run into me if you're doing some of the odd stuff.
Good way to put it. And with that, Dr. Okamura.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Kelsey Okamura. I'm a clinical psychologist as well. I specialize in youth internalizing disorders as well, and I like to specialize and treat anxiety disorders in children and adolescents. My research focuses on the dissemination and implementation of science to practice. So we do a lot of translational research in my lab. I teach mostly at the grad level, but I do get to teach research methods at the undergrad level. So you may run into me there. I have a really nice time getting to know the undergrads there. So I hopefully will get to see you guys soon.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Dr. Okamura. And hi, Vince Tsushima again. Still Vince Tsushima. Let's see, I teach tests and measurements, teach a forensic psych, abnormal psych class. On the undergrad level, I also do Psych 1000. And those are most of the classes that you would probably run into that I'm teaching. I teach also on the grad level in our PSY, our doctorate in a psychology program. And yeah, with that, that's me. I'm also the program director of the PSY program. Yeah, and I'd just like to just mention a couple other people who aren't here with us because of the other things have prevented them from being able to join us today. Doug Hall, who has his PhD in a counseling psychology. Yeah, he's a little under the weather today. Oh, there we go. Thank you. And,
that's all.
Yeah, and Doug has done some research in the area of psychology and music in terms of how we cognitively construct musical perception. And let's see, and also Mike Brubaker, he's our newest faculty member. Dr. Brubaker has his PhD in community psychology, but he's also done stuff in the area of cross-cultural as well as social psychology. And he can't be with us because he's in a committee meeting this morning. Yeah, but this is, these are your faculty members. And today we're here to talk with you guys about how to succeed as a psychology major. All righty. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through some of the major issues that you will encounter as a psych student. All righty. And if you're not a psych major and you're just thinking about a psych major, this is still very handy for you to be at, and good for you for attending something like this. This might, for whether you're a psych major or you're thinking to be a psych major, Or even if you don't decide to be a psych major, which for the life of me, I can't imagine why. But should you decide not to be a psych major, I think some of the stuff we talk about here is certainly applicable to whatever you pursue. All righty. With that, Dr. DeWald has prepared a PowerPoint presentation that will kind of walk us through each of these topics. And some of us will talk a little bit more on each topic, and then all of us will chime in. While we're going through these topics, if you have any questions, please feel free to just, chime in. Yeah, you can maybe notify us by through the chat box, or just feel free to, make yourself heard and just say, excuse me, and then we'll proceed. Okay. So that.
And there is a quiz after, so take copious notes. I'm kidding.
All righty.
Oh, hold on.
Okay, well, hold on.
This is my first time using Zoom. Just kidding.
Seems like it, Andy.
Oh, wow. Wow. A lot of love and support here in the psych department.
We're a very loving community.
Can you guys see that?
I can
Is that
psych curriculum?
okay? That'll work.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, cool. Full disclosure, I was not a psychology major, just so you guys know, in undergrad. And look at me now. Yep. but I changed my ways in graduate school. So there you go. Okay. So to start, being that the whole entire overarching thesis of this presentation is how to succeed as a psychology major, you need to take psychology courses to be a psychology major. So to begin, I just wanted to give an overview of some of the courses that you'll absolutely have to take. And then once you get through that, you'll start to have a little bit of agency and autonomy in choosing the courses that you take to kind of curtail your degree towards the things that you're interested in. Like Dr. Pashtag said, if you want to get weird in your third or fourth year, we have courses for that, and how to get your degree. And I've also had some questions from students in the first few weeks here about, hey, what courses do I need to be taking and what's required to be a psych major? So we'll go over that here. Above all, you need to take Psych 1000 Introductory Psychology in order to start your career in psychology, which I think all of you are currently enrolled in some iteration of that. Yes, so that is required, and then after that you will have to take the twin 2000 level courses: Statistics, Psych 2100, and Research Methods, Psych 2200. These are very useful courses, necessary courses where you learn how to ask and answer questions correctly from an empirical standpoint, and learn how to employ mathematical scrutiny to make sure that you didn't fool yourself in asking and answering those questions. This is very important. You must take these courses in order to be a psychology major. That is to say, you can't declare your major as a psych major or take any subsequent upper division courses until you have gone through Psych 1000, Psych 2100, and Psych 2200 respectively. So that's where you guys all are right now, starting out at 1000. Next, I think some of you probably in the spring will be taking 2100 or 2200. You get through those, and then you can start to take the electives, where things start to get a little bit more specific in terms of the different theoretical foundations of psychology, being that psychology has such a huge breadth of theoretical diversity and ways of going about theorizing and answering and asking questions about mental process and behavior. We've got lots of ways of going about that. So there's cognitive psychology, biopsychology, social psych. There's developmental perspective, learning how to test and measure mental process and behavior, abnormal psychology. Those are required. And then at the end of your 4 years, you will have to take a capstone course, which kind of ties all the things together that you've done in your 4 years or so into one final assessment. So this is probably going to be in like the spring semester of your final year, maybe the fall semester of your final year, where you can kind of put the end cap on your psychology degree depending on what it is that you're interested in. So we have a research seminar capstone course in which you can hone your research skills if you're looking to perhaps go on to graduate school and do research or pursue a master's or PhD. We have a counseling practicum capstone course if perhaps you're looking for a more applied approach to psychology, like clinical work or therapy or counseling. Research isn't your thing, go that way. And we also have a history and systems course, which is a perspective of just the historical foundations of theories and sort of the paradigm shifts that have occurred in psychology throughout its history. So also kind of tethered in research. So all in all, here is the whole thing. So what do you need to do to succeed as a major in psychology? You gotta earn 120 credits at HPU in everything. And of those, 36 of those credits have to be upper division, 3,000 and above. A lot of those will be psychology courses. So I know that right now you're only enrolled in a few, if any, psychology courses because you're just starting out, like intro psych. But I assure you, once things get rolling in your third and fourth years, you will be nearly completely composed of psychology courses. It'll be great. So it's coming. You just got to get through the intro and the research methods and the statistics, and then you get to sort of choose whatever it is that you're going to do. Okay. Beyond that, we also have a minor in psychology. I know that everybody here, or I think, I'm inferring, I shouldn't assume, but I assume that everybody here is intending to be a psychology major, but I know that some of you may be in attendance because of being in a gen ed class, and maybe you're just like psychology curious, and you want a minor in psychology. And for what it's worth, it's pretty easy to minor in psychology at HPU. I found out. I was like, oh, that's not that bad. And that's a really useful minor. Not that other minors aren't useful, but like a minor in psychology is a really useful accompaniment to your degree, especially if you're like majoring in business or something like that.
Very true.
To have that accompany like, hey, I know how to like predict, control, and explain mental process and human behavior, that's useful. Certainly can sort of raise your stock in like competency and employability, and it's great. So what's required to have a minor in psychology is 6 upper division psychology courses across your entire tenure at HPU. So you take 6 courses that are 3,000 level or above in psychology, as well as Psych 1000, and you're good to go. Now, as a psych major, Psych 2100 and 2200 are prerequisites to take 3,000 courses and above. But as a minor, you don't necessarily have to take those. You can take other quantitative courses and research courses in your respective degree, and they will count. So like Math 1123 or the research methods course that's in your respective major, that's fine. Okay, so you don't have to go through the same rigor of what a psych major does. You just got to have something quantitative, something research-based, you're good to go. So another thing assuredly to consider is a minor in psychology. Now I know most of you are majors, but it's there for the option. Okay. Next, we're going to consider research, and I think Dr. Okamura is going to talk about the importance of research and the opportunities of research.
Oh, and before Dr. Okamura begins, just a quick announcement. For those of you who are attending and want to also get extra credit from your instructor announces as an opportunity for extra credit. If you'd be kind enough in the chat to type in your name, your instructor's name, and what class. Yeah, so for example, it'd be Mary Jones, Psych 1000, Doug Hall, something like that. Okay, so if you can do that, thank you for any of you seeking extra credit for this. I turn it back to Dr. Okamura.
Sure, thanks, Dr. Shishima. As Andy was mentioning, or Dr. Dewan was mentioning, in addition to curriculum, there's also opportunities to get involved and engage in research that our faculty are doing. These are very tiny and blurry examples of papers and books that our faculty have written. So as Dr. Tsushima mentioned, a lot of us do research in our respective areas and have specialties. And it's really important to conduct this research for us as faculty members because it keeps us, kind of in tune with the literature. It keeps us teaching you guys the latest and greatest hits in psychological research. And it also contributes to kind of the expanding literature around psychological kind of phenomena and behaviors and all kinds of cool things. So there's a number of different faculty working on research at any given time. And there's always opportunities to get involved. And so one way to do that is, reaching out to individual instructors to see or our faculty members to see, what are they currently working on, if there's any opportunities to volunteer or collaborate on projects. If you take research methods, you'll probably dabble in some of your own research endeavors and working in a group to formulate your research question and your proposal and design. And then all throughout the year, like this symposium we're having right now, Dr. Tsushima puts together a number of different really cool topics, speakers. We have a psychology conference that happens. Oh, whoa, wow. Wow. Psychology conference, research dinners. We get invited speakers. We have, and it's just a time for us to kind of share what we're working on as well as what students working on. And get to know you guys a little bit better. So there's a number of other opportunities where you can apply your research skills outside of the HBU community. So there's local and national conferences as well that our students have attended. Right now in kind of this COVID-19 landscape, a lot of those conferences and conventions are online, which is actually a really nice, thank you, which is actually really nice because it allows us to attend, things that potentially we couldn't because of travel or funding issues. I think the biggest barrier for us being in Hawaii right now is that I often have to wake up at like 4 a.m. to listen to a talk. But that's not, a completely, terrible barrier if you can take a nap in the afternoon. You don't have 3 children. But see, in this slide right here, these are examples of local and national conferences where our students and faculty members have gotten to present their research via posters or give talks or kind of mingle in this online kind of format to get to know other researchers. And it's just a nice way to kind of build a community around psychology. And I think that's what you'll find in our program as well, is that, everybody's pretty collegial and we want to be able to help you succeed no matter, what path you're going to go into. And we have a lot of diverse faculty that have very different interests in terms of research and, clinical experience and, just professional experience and development and things like that. So I think my big take home point here is just reach out to us if you're interested in learning more and even just, grabbing 5 minutes of our time after classes. That's a nice way to kind of get our undivided attention too. So please just initiate the conversation.
Very good. I concur.
All right. Ah, Dr. Tashima, I think this is you.
Sure thing. This is me.
I'll throw it back over to Dr. Sushi.
Okay, don't throw hard. I'm a bad catcher. With that, gee, that wasn't even funny. That was just sad thing to say. Anywho, extracurricular, that's me. So we have a psychology club here. Our president is Erica Pardillo. And I think our secretary is Catherine McAllister. I don't know about her first name, but Miss McAllister. And we also have a Psychi chapter, yeah. And the president for that is Miss Ribeiro. So our psychology club is very active. About once a month, they do some kind of a social kind of activity related to the topic of psychology. Yeah, like they'll do a film that's on a psychological topic, then have a discussion. They might have a speaker come in. For our symposium series, by the way, like this is one we always do, our first one with the students and the faculty, but we try every couple months in each semester to have topical speakers come in. That's our symposium series. Like October 29th, we'll have a police psychologist come in and talk about mental health and the work of the HPD, Honolulu Police Department. Yeah, that's October 20th. I'll send out an announcement about that. We also have a student research dinner coming up. You guys will see that announcement. That's also hosted by our Psych Club, Psychi. And that's an opportunity for students to present their research, which is a nice little line to add to your Vita. So if you're taking Psych 2200 now, or, if you've had a research idea that, you've been working on with a professor, it's on the level of a proposal, but you don't have any data yet, yeah, present it, you're most welcome to. And so as the others have mentioned, being involved in research is really important for whatever you want to apply to, certainly for graduate school in psychology. But if you're interested in medical school and so on, the fact that you've been involved in research kind of stands out. Yeah. But particularly for academic degrees, if you're pursuing a PhD in something, computer science, psychology, that you're interested in research, that you've presented at a research forum, really, that'll make you stand out from all other students. Yeah, getting good grades is a huge part of the deal. That's how you're going to be spending most of your 3 to 4 years. Yeah, but you want to think about those other activities that will add to your resume, but will also stand out. Yeah, like where you're an officer in a psychology club. Did you make it into Psychi? And by the way, Psychi is the academic society. In order to qualify for Psychi, yeah, it's there are 3 basic things. You needed to have completed 3 psychology courses at HBU. You need at least a cumulative GPA 3.35, and as well as a psychology GPA 3.35. Now, if you qualify, what happens is every semester I get a list of all the students who've met those criteria. Yeah, and if you've met those criteria, I send out an email and I invite you to join Psychi. All righty. If you get that invitation, I encourage you to join. It's a one-time fee of, I think, $55 to the national organization, and you're a member for life. Okay. If you're interested in pursuing graduate school in psychology, it's kind of a nice idea to have that on your student resume. Okay. I remember when I applied to graduate schools, I actually had 1 or 2 programs ask me if I was in Psychi, and I said no. And they said, oh, you could have been in Psychi. Why didn't you join? And I think my best answer was, I don't know, I wasn't interested, which isn't an exciting answer to give when you're in an interview for anything. All righty. So when someone says, hey, why did you join the club? And you go, I don't know, I wasn't interested. Not a great answer. So if you have any interest in Psych Club or Psychi, I'm the go-to person. I'm the advisor for both. And yeah, hope to see you either join Psychi or join the activities and so on. Or I just wanted to kind of let the faculty know who are the presenters today, where we're at. It's about almost 11:30. We'll probably go for another 20 minutes and then leave the last 10 minutes for a little Q&A with the students. Yeah, so I think we have another 20 minutes to our presentation. So with that, I turn it back to Dr. DeWald.
Okay, I can fill 20 minutes. I might not be able to fill 20 minutes.
No.
So after your illustrious career at HBU, earning your bachelor's degree in psychology. There is life after a bachelor's degree, and assuredly, there is lots that you can do with a bachelor's degree in psychology. Don't worry. There's plenty of jobs and things and enrollment and employment that is obtainable, but of course, people often think, what's next? What comes after in the form of graduate school? And what I want to bring to you now is that we have that opportunity at HPU. If you fall in love with us and just don't want to leave, good news, you can stay. We have a Doctor of Clinical Psychology, that's a PsyD doctoral degree, which is applied psychology, applied to clinical practice. So if your interest that develops over the course of your 4 years is in counseling and therapy and clinical work, good news. You don't even have to leave the building. You can stay at HPU and do a doctorate in clinical psychology. It's a 5-year program that witnesses first 3 years of a lot of coursework integrated with practicum, and then sort of the coursework tapers off. And you begin to do more applied work and practicum and internship and working on a dissertation. But ultimately, you come out with a doctorate in clinical psychology, which you'd be able to have a practice and do work.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, for any of you who are interested, please feel free to email me at V for Vincent Tsushima. And you probably see my name in the email, but yeah, just email me. I'd be happy to sit down and talk with you or any of your friends or colleagues who are interested in applying to our PsyD program. Yeah. And as a general matter, at least in the United States, to practice as a clinician. Yeah. Now you can on the master's level. Yeah, there's masters in counseling. There are some masters in psychology programs. You can get your MSW. All of those master's level degrees can allow you to do psychology treatment like therapy and stuff like that. Yeah, but you really need a doctorate to have the whole range of possible mental disorders that you can possibly treat, as well as test and so on. Yeah. So for those of you who are interested in becoming clinical psychologists or know of people who are interested, yeah, feel free to contact me.
Yeah, you could be with us for 9 years. Watch us age. That would be exciting. We also have, just for what it's worth, we currently have enrolled in our PsyD program some fourth-year undergraduate. That's also an option too. That you certainly wouldn't be fully enrolled in the PsyD program, but you can take courses in your final years, of course, by approval. But that's also something that looks good in consideration for graduate school and things like that, like, oh, I took a graduate level course in my undergrad and completed it. That opportunity is there for you. The only other thing to talk about here is just, I guess I should have preceded the PsyD program with this, but I got mixed up, is preparation for grad school. If you are thinking about that, I know that it's kind of unsettling that you've been in college for like 4 weeks and here we are, like, you should start thinking about grad school. But you should start thinking about grad school. If this is indeed something that's like in your mind and that you're looking to pursue, start thinking now. Maybe not, taking action yet, but at least thinking about it, that, next level stuff requires preparation and getting ready and being ready to go. The main thing that should be in your sights right now are the standardized exams that are required for now for you to enroll in graduate school. The one that would probably be the most pertinent to your interests as a psychology major or pursuing psychology is the GRE, the Graduate Record Examination. There's a general GRE. It's kind of like the SAT on like steroids. It's just an ugly SAT, only harder, and with more writing. There's also a psychology specific GRE that some programs require. Others don't necessarily require it, but it doesn't hurt to have it to like accompany your application. It looks like, hey, look, psychology, I understand psychology, so that's useful. But also note too that by virtue of being a psychology major, your degree in psychology doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to go to grad school in psychology. It is a very generalizable degree with a high amount of ecological validity that could send you in any direction. So like there are other, graduate tests that are required for enrollment that you can be thinking about. Law school, medical school, business like MBA. 4-year degree, a bachelor's degree in psychology really is useful in those pursuits. So, as you're going through in your studies in psychology, don't think that you're not stuck, but like limited to only psychology as a graduate pursuit. Like it can be anything. I mean, case in point, like we have people enrolled in our PsyD program that don't necessarily have explicit backgrounds. I know that's kind of backwards, but like explicit backgrounds in psychology. Now they're doing psychology in graduate school, that sort of thing. I didn't major in psychology as an undergraduate, and now here I am. So it goes both directions, and certainly there's other ways that you can go. Psychology prepares you for pretty much anything that you can do. So things to start thinking about now. Maybe not take the test now, but certainly start thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. And related to that, certainly if you're first, generally with the GRE, I think a good kind of a game plan is to set aside a whole semester and treat it like a course. Yeah. So prepare accordingly. Students who have done that generally have been kind of happier about how they've done on the GRE. Yeah. Students who spent a weekend before taking the GRE preparing and do 1 or 2 practice tests usually aren't that happy about how they did on the GRE. All righty. That's not for the average person. Some people can do that, and some people can do it, not necessarily because they're more intelligent than anyone else, but some people just know the strategies. And then they can do that. But that's a minority of people. The vast majority of us have to set aside time for the GRE. Yeah. And particularly just doing practice tests over and over and over so that you can come to understand, what is the strategy with each item? Yeah. With the math portion in the GRE, it involves the bottom line is that it's not a math test per se, but it gets at mathematical thinking, right? So can you problem solve like a mathematical person? And it also takes a lot of stuff from algebra and geometry. And if it's been, unless you really love algebra and geometry and you've been keeping up your algebra and geometry chops, you better prepare for that. I mean, algebra and geometry, there's a lot of stuff. So, I think if you just set aside a semester for that, and the other thing too, at least for the US, I can't speak for Europe and Asia, but a lot of US students have a real hard time with the math section, the quant section. There are a number of factors why that's the case. But is that something you can change? That's in your control? You betcha. That's a lot of it is in your control, kind of pursuant to what I just described. But, you got to set aside the time. Most of us have to set aside a chunk of time, and a chunk of time is defined as 1 semester, the amount of time you would spend in a 3-credit course. Not the easy 3-credit course, but a hard credit course. For the MCAT, for example, for med school, they usually advise med students to set aside 500 hours. 500. Man, when you divide that into a 15-week semester, hey, that's a lot of hours. That's like 10 hours a week. So, about there, more, I think. So set aside the time. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'll just quickly piggyback off of that, Dr. Tsushima. So it's also important to understand kind of the programs you're applying to when you're taking the GRE and what they will accept. And if you are in the situation where you have to take the GRE multiple times, myself included. And so, it's important to know, are they going to take your highest scores? Will they take a combination of those things?
Yep.
Will they average it across the multiple trials that you took it? I'm a terrible standardized test taker. So I knew that ahead of time. So I was, I made sure, like, because I knew I was going to, there's a high likelihood I was going to take it more than once, understanding how the different programs would look at my scores.
Right.
Okay, good point. Thank you, Dr. Kumara. All right, I think we're going at a good pace. We have like maybe another 12 minutes before maybe we should start with a little Q&A.
I was thinking Q&A could go now too.
Well, with that, why don't we just start? Yeah, there's other things we could address, but yeah, questions from the gallery. Thank you so much for joining us. Any questions about the psych major, about succeeding just at HPU in general? A lot of us have been at HPU for quite a while, yeah, and taught a lot of different students, so we kind of know what works, what doesn't work at this university, or grad school or research, any of that stuff. So yeah, questions from the gallery.
Silence.
Very quiet. We'll take a moment or two as people maybe collect their thoughts. Well, while we're waiting for that, I was wondering, could any of you, if you'd be kind enough to turn on your camera and let us know which one of you guys are psych majors and which ones aren't? Yeah, so I see a hand up. Yeah, I see. So yeah, if you'd be kind enough to turn on your camera. Oh, thank you. And actually, Andy, can we get into gallery mode? Thank you. Yeah. So how many of you are psych majors? Can I see the hands again? 1, 2. Okay, a couple. I don't know about the others who have the cameras off. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. So Mr. Kosa, are you a psych major? Mr. Barack Kosar?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I just had to fix this. No, I'm not a psych major. I'm just taking a psych course because of interest. Because I'm, yeah.
Oh, very good. And what are you interested in pursuing down the road?
I actually want to pursue career in research, but in economic research, not in psychological research.
Okay, very good. And why do you want to pursue research? Good for you.
I did I did 2 internships in research, and it really stuck with me, and I like it. I like the methods. I like that it's like challenging, and if you find something new that actually contribute more than my alternative career would be in a bank, and there you don't really contribute as much to society. That was like my first goal. But yeah, after an internship, I decided that this suits me better.
Excellent, sir. Are you pursuing a graduate degree in economic research or?
Not yet. I'm in my last year of a bachelor's degree, and I will apply. I'm in my last year of an undergraduate degree, and I'm about to start applying for graduate programs.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Any questions about any of the things we had mentioned about how best to prepare for graduate school?
Not yet, but the test for economics programs is also a GRE. Just want to add that it's like the same test.
Oh, there you go. All right, set aside that chunk of time. Are you thinking of applying to US programs?
Haven't thought about it yet. Maybe to 1 or 2, but that's not my main target. Main target would be Europe and East Asia.
Gotcha, sir. Thank you for your thoughts on that. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise them. Jonathan Allingstad? Yeah, so you had raised your hand about being a psych major?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, and why are you a psych major? What do you want to pursue, sir?
I'm a little unsure at the moment. I just like the field as a whole, but I haven't like specified anything yet.
Okay, gotcha. Did you have any questions about any of the topics we've been going through?
No, not really. No.
Okay, very good. When you're thinking,
Vince, can I jump in for a
go
moment?
ahead, Joanna.
So I noticed I know we've got some foreign students. I know I always have, currently in one class, one of my research seminars is all students from Germany or Norway. Besides being licensed in Hawaii and California, I'm also a licensed clinical and forensic psychologist in the UK. I have what's called a EuroPsy certificate, which facilitates my work in anywhere in the European Union if I want to do that. If people have questions about coming from a degree here and going to work in Europe or to look for a graduate degree in Europe, they could be free to email me. So that's jpashdag, jpashdag@hpu. The one thing I will say at the start is, if you're planning on doing that or thinking of doing that, keep all of your class syllabi. And for that matter, keep all of the catalog pages for the years, the HPU catalog pages for the years that you take your course. Because you can come out with an American degree and get into a European postgraduate program. Or if you were to do your doctorate degree here, you can work in Europe, but you need a lot of documentation. So don't throw away anything related to your courses in terms of syllabi, catalog descriptions, reading lists, things like that, because at some point, if you go back to Europe, you will be asked for those. But as I said, I'm happy to answer questions about that for people.
Thank you, Dr. Pashtag, for the sound advice and for making yourself available. Thank you so much. Ms. Bufa, did you raise your hand as a psych major?
No, my major is human and health sciences. I'm just taking a psychology class and I wanted extra credit.
That's fine. That was my attitude and game plan when I was an undergrad. So Ms. Bufa, why human health sciences?
The end goal is to get my master's in physical therapy.
Oh.
So that's one of the degrees that I could like accomplish to get into physical therapy.
Excellent, excellent. And are you going to be pursuing applying to the HPU physical therapy program or maybe elsewhere?
I don't know yet. I'm only a freshman, so I'm just kind of feeling my way through Hawaii right now because I'm from Montana. So I'm still like learning everything and everything else. So yeah. Gotcha.
Well, you know what I like to always tell, first year students, be patient with yourself. Yeah, a lot of stuff to learn. Hey, but good for you for joining us. I think some of the ideas that you might be hearing might come in really handy down the road. Ms. Hansen, and what is your major, Ms. Hansen?
I'm majoring in business. So yeah, I'm just a visiting student. So yeah, I just take the introduction to psychology, to get a quick overview about psychology, and yeah.
Very good. And what do you want to pursue in business?
I want to be more in the finance sector actually, and yeah, that just develop during my my studying, because I started at 2019 and just started business, and when I'm on my graduation, I want to be more into the finance sector.
Oh, and what do you want to do specifically in finance?
I would like to go more in the controlling direction and yeah, work as a controller afterwards.
Oh, and if you could explain to me, what is a controller?
A controller is he is responsible for all the numbers of the company and have to show and also report the numbers and have to say in which direction we go and what measures we have to do because to get our goals. So have the overview around the whole company.
Okay, that is that is an appropriately named position then.
Yeah, it is.
Good for you. Wow, I'm impressed. So far, 3 out of 4 are non-psychology majors, but have joined us today. Let me try to get at some of the people who don't have their cameras on. Let's see, Miss Best, Samantha Best.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Best. Are you a psych major?
No, I'm going into elementary education.
Oh, that's we need
Excellent.
that's
Very
good.
good. Why do you want to pursue elementary education?
I just love working with kids, and I also want to like do special ed at some point too, because I worked with them like in high school. We had a program where we could like work with those kids and help them out, and I love doing that. So
Excellent. Well, if you're pursuing that, are you thinking of pursuing at least psychology as a minor, perhaps?
no, it was just one of my gen eds, to be honest.
That's
So
actually
that's why I took it, but it sounds really interesting, but
yeah, no need to apologize. You know, it's not like as psych professors we're selling cheeseburgers. You know, it's like, hey, why aren't you buying a cheeseburger? Well, I like pizza. I really prefer pizza. You know, it's absolutely fine. You know, you're with us. You're with us at HBU. Very good. Yeah. But someone was going to comment. Oh, but you know, certainly as someone who wants to pursue education, you know, you're talking to the right people. This is our gig too. You know, so yeah, I'll tell you, it's a good gig, you know. Special ed, really hard work, you know, and at some point, you know, you might find an interest in learning some stuff like in abnormal psychology, or, you know, that kind of stuff.
It's definitely very interesting.
Good, very good, and I think applicable for what you will be pursuing. Oh, go ahead, sir. I thought, Mr. Kosa, you were about to say something?
No, I wasn't, sorry. I was just
Oh, no worries. I do that to students all the time. You know, they scratch their nose and I go, hey, you got a question? You know? Ms. Zawoski? Hi, are you a psych major?
Crickets.
Maybe not. How about Bill Jorgen? Hello, Jorgen?
Bueller.
or Senator Rasmussen? Okay. So just moving along. Yeah. So, you know, we got a bunch of, thank you so much. Oh, go ahead. Thank you so much for joining us all. So, you know, that's kind of cool that we've had a lot of non-psych majors here too. I think this stuff, you know, but I still think there are a number of points relevant to even non-psych majors. Yeah. And, you know, for those of you, and what the other thing that's kind of cool is that a number of you are pursuing research in various forms. Yeah. And along those lines, you know, as what was touched on by Dr. Okamura. Yeah. If you can get that experience in terms of publishing, yeah, that'll really be handy for you when you want to apply to grad school. Yeah, that's another one of things that makes things out. Yeah, because as I think what some of the faculty have pointed to, if you pursue, you know, your master's in business, master's in finance, and so on, or master's in education, you know, you might be competing against a lot of people with good grades and with good GRE scores. Yeah. So what will make your application stand out? The thing that will make your application stand out is if you've published, if you contribute to research. Yeah, that catches people's attention. Yeah. Mr. Kosan?
Yeah, this time actually a question. Just because of interest, is it standard for psychologists to publish during their undergraduate or graduate studies? Because I know in IT it is really common to publish before you start a PhD, but in economics and finance, that's extremely rare. Like very few people do it, and those who do it are guaranteed to get to be able to choose their position.
Oh, good question. Somebody like to address that, please?
Yeah, I think it's all a matter of fit in terms of what program you're applying to. So I think when, you know, one of the things I remember when I was applying was like, you know, a lot of the mentors that I spoke with, and that's, you know, equally important as you're applying, to have, you know, a few people that you can kind of talk with about the programs and if it's a good fit for you. But I remember mentors telling me, you know, there's just a large amount of variance that goes into admissions to different types of programs. And so it's all about fit. So I can see for maybe clinical or even the different types of PhD programs, I think it's fairly typical in psychology now to have at least a first author publication, if not more, when you're applying. Now, when I was applying to grad school, that was not the case. But we're seeing over the generations of people who are applying that it tends to be a little bit more competitive for the PhD side, right? Like the actual, you know, like the research focused programs. The more applied ones, we're not necessarily looking for those things. Those are good experiences to have, but less so on the more applied side, especially our PsyD program. We definitely look for your research experience and your interest because you do have to do a dissertation, but not necessarily looking for that track record like we would look for in a PhD program.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting to know. Thanks.
Yeah, you know, and as Dr. Okumura said, it depends on the program, what they're looking for. And, you know, different disciplines like econ might have different expectations of undergrad research. Yeah, maybe econ doesn't have that kind of expectation. Psychology does have that expectation. Yeah. That said, can it still give you a competitive edge, even if your discipline doesn't, you know, seem to require that? You betcha. You know, now, how do you do it then if it's not the norm, if it's not the culture of econ for undergrads to do research? You know, speak with your professors who are doing research, yeah, and see if you can tag on with them. See if you can do number crunching for them that they don't have time to do, yeah. So you might be a second or third author, you know, but is that something you add to your vita? Absolutely. It makes you more marketable, you know, because especially as you said, Mr. Kosar, because it's such an anomaly, they'll go, wow, you know, it will stand out even more. Yeah, but that's probably a way to, here's another thing to do too. This might sound odd. If you have statistical skills, yeah, be it with R, SPSS, or whatever, you know, software or other research kind of software you're familiar with, yeah. You know, sometimes go across disciplines and say, hey, look, do you need someone to help you with some number crunching? You know, and that's it. And you know, this might sound bizarre, far out, but if you are familiar with statistical packages, and then let's say you take a biology course and you like the biology instructor, and as she's talking about her research on, you know, plastics in the ocean, you know, say, hey, do you need any help with the software? I don't mind doing some number crunching. I enjoy doing number crunching. And then she might say, sure. And, you know, make you a third author on a, you know, biology publication. Yeah. So I think that's the other, I think sometimes students kind of think, oh, if I'm this major, I can't do research in other disciplines, you know, but in psychology, we've had, you know, psychology majors do research with chemists, with biologists, get publications. And then when they apply to grad school, they stand out, you know, because they did that. Yeah. And sometimes it's just because they took one chem course with someone, like the person said, hey, by the way, need any help? And then, yeah. So don't rule that out. Yeah. Someone outside of your discipline. All righty.
Thanks, I didn't think about that. Thank you.
No, most of us don't. Most of us, you know, we kind of we get into our little silos here. You know, I'm a psych major, I'm a business major, but it happens. And students who take the initiative, you know, do, and it's just as simple as like what Dr. Okumura said. After talk, you know, walk up to the person and say, hey, by the way, you know, and sometimes just a few minutes of chat. Someone usually will not fight off free labor. You know, if you want to start negotiating a fee, that's up to you. You know, if you're real gung-ho that way, good for you. But you know, if you just tell someone, hey, I like running stats, that's a good way to do it. You know, with that, if there are no other questions, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And if there's any way we can assist you in your pursuits of your degree, whether it's psychology or not, feel free to contact us. And with that, that's that. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Have a great weekend.
Good weekend to you all.
Thank you very much.
Good weekend.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Hey, thanks, guys. And I will shut off the camera.